I think this opportunity for these young kids is just absolutely extraordinary. If I roll back the years, and I think when I was sort of growing up, and under 19 level was a very formative sort of time in my career, and I think it's the same around the world. And for these young guys to have a concentrated tournament over this period of time, 3 weeks, and to really get stuck in conditions that are first class. I mean, I remember one of the things that was said to me very early in my career when I started playing first class cricket was, the best thing about first class cricket when you get there from playing club cricket and other games of cricket is the facilities are so much better, the pitch is better, the side screens are better, everything's better. So when these guys suddenly play at a stadium like Gaddafi and these sort of ideal conditions with these relayed pitches which have been superb, it's just a real boost for the guys. And what that then does allows them to express their skills. And then, to have guys like Viv Richards having a chat to you, Imran Tahir having a chat to you, Shahid Afridi, Darren Sammy, all these guys. I mean, it's just wonderful. And then also, not to mention, also you got some imported coaches who have made a living coaching young kids and senior players. But all of them, and I've spoken to quite a few of the mentors and the coaches, they are all loving the opportunity to work with these guys. And I reckon if you're a talented youngster and you're playing in this Pakistan Junior League, I reckon you should be able to walk away from this 3-week period, taking everything on board. If you've played well, I think that's important because your confidence will be there. You can probably improve your game by around about 30%. I really think that's a distinct possibility. And finally, the other thing is it's going to now provide a career path for you, because there's going to be some of the PSL teams and some of the county teams for some of the overseas players, for example, and the other overseas players, they get noticed. And once you're noticed as a young player, I mean, then and you've performed well. That's important. I keep saying that, but it's so important. Then you've got a real kickstart for the rest of your career. This brainchild from Ramiz Raja, the chairman, is extraordinary. I've had a lot to do with Ramiz over the years. But when he started this whole thing, I thought, gee, this is a little bit different. And the fact that there's going to be overseas players involved and the cream of the crop at a younger age, I just thought straight away that I would want to be involved. And I was living in Los Angeles, and I was sitting there and I just thought, well, this is something I need to come back for. And I like coming back to Pakistan anyway. But I just thought, what a great opportunity to actually see some of these young guys now, and then over the next few years follow their career paths and see where they go when it comes to going up the ranks of Pakistan cricket. So I'm going to throw a name straight away. Tayyab Arif, straight away. He's someone who's really impressed me. 16-year-old. I was lucky enough to be on air when he hit that cover drive with the first ball he faced. And I just thought, my goodness. And I'll be really excited to watch him really, really closely to see where he goes in his career. And that's, in a nutshell, why I wanted to be involved in this. One of the things that's really impressed me about the Pakistan Junior League is the facilities, and I'm talking about the pitches. Now, the fact that these tracks were relayed literally a couple of months ago, that's all, I think is quite extraordinary. If you normally relay a square, which is what happened here, there's 4 tracks that were relayed to the depth of 6 inches. There's 6 tracks that were relayed to the depth of 4 inches, and there's 2 tracks at the ends that were relayed to the depth of only 2 inches. But to relay a square and to have them up and playing like they are now is just unheard of, and I think it's a real positive thing. If you think about cricket in Pakistan, everyone sort of says, oh, the tracks are generally slow and low and it turns a little bit and there's not much bounce, and keeper's got to make sure that the slips cordon's in the right spot. I've seen enough from don't forget, these guys are under 19, and when, by the way, when we've been commentating, Dominic Cork and myself have actually on air said, well, we just got to remember here, this is under 19 cricket. That's how high the quality's been. But I think that watching the under 19s get some life out of the surface is going to it augurs so well for the future when the test matches come here and the test matches are played on the tracks that are going to be relayed. So I think that the relaying of the surfaces is a huge, huge positive, and they're going to have some life in them, and it's going to change the characteristic of pitches in Pakistan, which I think is great. So that's been a real positive with the PJL. So with the Pakistan Junior League, I'll be really interested to see what happens in, say, 3 years' time, because the first year we've had has been really special, and we've seen some really good talent, and the game's been great, and the viewership and the numbers that we're hearing is like 6 million people, 6.5 million people tuning in, and that was with about a week to go before the final. So that's impressive. That's obviously being broadcast on television on North America and also New Zealand, but streaming on YouTube around the place with the streaming partners. So that's impressive. But I expect more overseas players to come. I mean, why? If you're a young overseas player sitting in, let's call it South Africa, let's call it Australia, let's call it New Zealand, let's call it wherever you want to be, Sri Lanka, we've only got the one Sri Lanka here. I mean, why wouldn't you say, listen, I want to be involved in this draft next time around? I mean, I'm probably not busy during that period, and you speak to whoever it is at their various boards, their cricket boards, and say, get me involved in that draft because I want to come out and learn and to get involved with these guys. So I can see a draft happening where there's going to be quite a few players involved from the overseas, but that in itself is going to also assist the local players as well. So one of the great things about the Pakistan Junior League is that these overseas players, and there's a handful of them now, where we've got 20 overseas players that are here playing in this one, they're going to meet lifelong friends from Pakistan throughout this, with the environment they've had and living together in the team environment and training for so long and that sort of stuff. So that's going to build and build and build. So there's going to be more people coming, more top players playing, there's going to be more cream of the crop, which is going to overall increase the whole level of it. But the friendship's going to be there, the skill level is going to be raised, and the players are always going to improve. And also the focus is going to be on Pakistan from a junior point of view. And I think that's really positive. And the fact that Ramiz Raja as chairman has started this, I think has made a lot of other boards just sit up and take a bit of notice. And I think that's a really, really impressive thing and a very positive thing. And 3 years' time, this could be seriously exciting. Another thing that these young guys have had to learn, and some will take it in their stride, and for some it's not a problem at all, others will find it intimidating, is the fact that you've now got all these cameras all over the place. I mean, the crew that we've had here, all these cameras, and it's similar to, if not identical to, an international broadcast. So there's cameras left, right and centre, there's replays left, right and centre, there's buggy cam, there's the drone as well, so you can't hide. And there's been one or two players that have been caught out a little bit. I don't have any problem at all with aggression in the middle. I don't, provided it's within a certain parameter and it doesn't get out of control, then obviously the umpires need to step in. And I've seen once or twice, in fact once, I was very pleased to see some of the junior players actually step in and grab one of the senior players and take him aside. And I thought that was really nice to see. So there's maturity from some of those junior players, which is brought upon by an opportunity to play in the Pakistan Junior League. So that was a real positive as well. So to play under lights in front of all these television cameras, microphones all over the place, that's another learning curve for the guys. And to me, it's fascinating to see the better players actually just take it as a normal scenario and something that they've probably dreamt about and something that they expect to happen in their futures in the future. And not to be of any concern at all. Some will be a little bit edgy about it initially and will soon adapt. So it's just another dimension, I think, which comes into it, and that's something they've got to also handle. So that's again another growth area of the Pakistan Junior League. As a commentator, as a presenter, whatever, I'm always interested to see how players in other sports, and the senior players I'm talking about, handle interviews and how they can get their messages across and how relaxed they are in front of cameras and that sort of business. And I was really pleased to hear that one of the important parts that the Pakistan Cricket Board and Ramiz Raja, of course, with his background, insisted on was to make sure that there was some solid media training for these guys. And I think that's really, really good. And we can actually see the improvement, I think, as we've gone along with some of the interviews that happened right at the start of the tournament. And also the interviews that are happening towards the end. The guys are looking far more relaxed about things. The guys are getting their points across better. Obviously, there's the language situation, which is absolutely how it should be. They don't know. A lot of the guys don't know English and whatever. But believe me, they'll be picking up English as they go along, and they'll be able to converse with some of these overseas players in English, and that's got to be a positive as well, and vice versa, the overseas players conversing in Urdu as well. So that's good. But the fact that they're being trained in front of a camera and being tested in various stressful situations from a media point of view, I think is another big step for it. So again, it's another big tick to the PCB and Ramiz Raja as chairman to improve these youngsters, and that's just wonderful to see. Yeah, the running out, backing up at the bowler's end is an interesting one. It's something that worries me a bit, I must say. I would like to think that even though the rules have been changed, I would like to think there is some sort of word to the batsman initially. Only needs to be one, and I know that some people don't agree with that, some bowlers don't agree with that. Just needs to be it's not a warning, it's just a word. Just listen, don't back up or I'll run you out. Just something like that, so that he is on notice, if you like. And I think once that word has been given to one of the players, then that should spread from that player, that batsman, to the rest of the team as well. So you don't have to then sort of mention it every guy. So I would like, ideally, that to happen before it actually does happen, because it's something that doesn't sit all that well with me, and you know, I just think that's probably the way it should be done. And even though it's now a law of the game, you know, I'd rather see wickets be achieved in other ways. I first came to Pakistan in the '96 World Cup. There was a bit of a break, and the early 2000s came again, and since then there was a little bit of a break, and for me it's just wonderful to have the opportunity to come back to Pakistan. And I think one of the best things about coming back to work in this country is the fact that the people that we are involved with from a work point of view are just wonderful to work with, and that's a real positive. You're talking from the heads of the production, you're talking from the heads of the sponsorship, you're talking from the chairman, the board, all those sort of guys. So I just think it's a really enjoyable place to work. And they also, what's also nice is they actually appreciate you coming here and also working as well. And I think that's not necessarily the case all around the place. But I just really enjoy coming back and working with the people who are involved with Pakistan cricket. And for me, it's a real joy. And every time that I get the opportunity, I leap at it, and I'll hopefully that'll keep happening and come back on a regular basis, because that's something I'd like to do and something I look forward to. You know, and when I sort of get a message saying, "Are you available?" it takes me generally 10 seconds to reply. So that's for me, it's a thrill. And then the other side of that is then catch up with some of your work colleagues or guys you've played against in the past or whatever that you haven't seen for a while, maybe, who also have a similar view. So when we get here and we work as a pack, for example, in the PSL or in the broadcast with a test series, it's a similar feeling that permeates throughout the commentary team, that it's just a good place to work, and that's nice. And you know, we've obviously been restricted because of COVID, but hopefully it's not going to be too long before we can travel a bit and get out and check some of the other areas and check some of the beauty of Pakistan. That excites me. So I'm looking forward to that when we get the opportunity.